For joining me on what's titled Beauty from the Inside Out, really about longevity and just maybe living the best life you can live. And so I've been vegan over 20 years. I started when it wasn't so in vogue. I don't even know what that means, but it was a lot harder and more challenging to find things as we have here today, and I made a lot of things from scratch, which I still do. I attended 2 culinary schools. One was in Fort Bragg, California, that was all vegan, raw vegan. So we had no ovens in our kitchens. It was all dehydrators. So everything was prepared no higher than 118 degrees, and all the enzymes were kept intact. And I was a pretty sound raw vegan for 3 years, a little bit hard in the kitchen when you're also cooking food. I then attended culinary school in New York, the Natural Gourmet Culinary Institute, where we cooked food and we had raw food, but both of the institutions taught food as medicine. Food is medicine. At 8 years old, my dad had a career, hello, welcome, as a catering chef, and I swore I'd never be a chef because at 8, he wasn't vegan, he's not vegan, but I still love him. At 8 years old, I was doing things that most 8-year-olds were out playing. I'm the eldest of 4. I won't bore you with how my life has gone being the oldest and having a knife in my hand at 8 years old, which child services would be probably called on today if they knew kids were holding a knife like I was. But never say never, and God has given me a gift. I love to feed people food to live for, not to die for. I also have had a very long career in the beauty wellness area. I'm from Los Angeles, 5th generation, and I had a wellness spa in West Hollywood. I am an aromatherapist, a reflexologist, herbologist, and all of my skincare and body care was using natural sourced products. A lot of times, food products. I would often do a facial and then make my client a smoothie. Because, you know, when we talk about beauty from the inside out, it really would be, people would be like, oh, your skin. And yes, I used and chose the best organic, raw, even skincare products, which I still use. It was really what we're putting in our body. And more than what we digest, what we absorb. Move fast forward why I'm up in Sacramento traveling to San Francisco. I relocated 4 years ago and joined a healthcare organization that has 23 plus hospitals on the West Coast. And they acquired in 2020 the Blue Zones Project. And if you know of the Blue Zones Project, it's the longest lived people. Over 20 years, Dan Buettner and National Geographic have studied 5 zones. Why would Adventist Health, a hospital, healthcare, allopathic healthcare company, acquire a project like this? Well, the Seventh-day Adventists are the only part of the Blue Zones in the United States that are a part of that longest lived people. They abstain from, not all, they mainly abstain based on their religious doctrine from smoking and alcohol, and have a vegetarian and, well, vegan diet. So the Blue Zones Project, and why I'm talking about beauty from the inside out, because as much as food is really important, one of the first aspects of the Blue Zones is purpose. And the 5 zones of the Blue Zones that were studied were Okinawa, Japan, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Nicoya Peninsula, Icaria, Greece, Sardinia, Italy, and then Loma Linda. And in Okinawa, they say ikigai, and that means what's my purpose? What do I get up for in the morning? So I always like to start with that, because usually we wake up before we eat, and you know, if we wake up with a good disposition or we have a sense of purpose, that's going to create less stress. And stress is one of the fastest agers there is, not just of one of our largest living organs, that's an eliminating organ of the body, but of all our organs. So stress is one of the things that is causing this external thing we call beauty, but beauty starts from the inside out. So purpose, what is your purpose? I'll ask you, you don't have to say it out loud, but something to think about, because when we sit in our purpose, when we're okay in our own skin, especially in today's society, we get through, I think, life, my own self-experience, a lot easier. Even when things don't go right, like the train ride didn't go like I wanted it to. That's why I said if I wasn't me, I probably would have went home. But I am me, so I was like, I'll get there. And I'll get there right on time. And I'll say what I have to say and what I have to share, and all will be okay. And that's usually how my days goes. I work in a kitchen, and nothing ever goes the way you plan it. Something doesn't come in. Somebody catches something on fire. Somebody burns you. You don't burn yourself. Someone opens the door and doesn't say, oven door open. Or someone doesn't say, knife in hand, and you get sometimes stabbed. And those are the realities of kitchen life. I could show you, but I won't. So purpose is really important to me as far as setting that tone for beauty from the inside out and really allowing us less stress, more longevity. This has been studied through the blue zones. And the blue zones have gone into cities such as Redondo Beach, where I'm from, Southern California, and they'll blue zone it. So they clean up the city where they get people exercising more. They get people eating more, what they call plant slant. They get people, abstaining from some of those stressors between alcohol and nicotine. And even if you don't want to give it up, do it less. So plant slant is 95% plant-based whole foods. So they may not all be vegan when you go to Icaria, Greece, or you go to Nicoya Peninsula, but most cultures outside of the United States, the SAD diet, standard American diet, already eat a lot of plants. And most of us come from a culture, even if we were born in the United States, that ate a lot of plants. So our birthright is to eat those foods that help to sustain us, that give us the nutrients, the vitamins. We can talk about the rainbow diet that we advocate for in the blue zones and what I've advocated for ever since I've been teaching people. Eat a diet that on your plate is full of colors. And all the colors, because you're going to get the phytonutrients, you're going to get the anthocyanins, you're going to get the antioxidants, you're going to get fiber, you're going to get protein. I can't tell you, if I had $1 for every time someone asked me throughout my over 20 years where I got my protein from, I'd probably be on an island right now, sipping on a vegan Mai Tai with no alcohol. Because people still, I've gone and studied nutrition, and so we're still a little bit dated what's new in healthcare, where I come from for the past 4 years. Still dated, but that mindset is hard to get around, and then I won't go with the political beast that everybody needs milk, right? Well, what kind of milk? Not cow milk. Not cow milk that is for the calf so that it can grow 300 pounds. Not cow milk that for humans causes a lot of mucus in the body and inflammation. So if anyone has asthma, just to say the least, they should never be on something that's causing mucus in the body and filling up the lungs. But then you have how many other milks that you can choose from: almond milk, hazelnut milk, cashew milk, coconut milk, oat milk. And they're so easy to make, so we don't even have to spend those extra dollars that you find on the shelf. And these things, the body innately knows how to work with a lot easier. And protein is in everything that is plant-based. We just have to get the right mix of amino acids. And amino acids are the building blocks of protein. And amino acids are what keep the skin firm, and our nails firm, and our hair growing, because that's all protein. Soft protein, soft protein, soft protein, right? And then berries. Every color of the rainbow that we can eat. And when we talk about how we eat and how we live and taking stress off the body, stress off the mind, what time is your last meal? So intermittent fasting is really big right now. And I'm not a fan of diets. I'm a fan of lifestyle. But in those different things, if your last meal, say, is at 6 or 7, and you get up at 7, and you may not have your first meal until 8 or 7:30, that's probably the longest time you've gone in the day. The 24 hours without eating. So that's already intermittent fasting. They just put a name to it. Scientifically, And now it's a big thing, and you go buy your books and watch the videos and pay people to teach you how to intermittent fast when you're already doing it. So I believe in rituals. I believe in finding ways that work in your own life. I believe in that calming bath that is really good for me because I stand on my feet all day in a kitchen 14, 16 hours. So I have to find that balance. I believe in breathing. It's free. So everybody take in a deep breath. Just through your nose and exhale. And then we're going to do it again. Please have a seat if you'd like. Okay, you okay? So then this time I want you to take in a deep breath. Hold it to the count of 8. And exhale. Now I'm asking you to do it one more time. So we're going to inhale through the nose, hold for a count of 8, and exhale through the nose. Please come in and find a seat if you like. So I've been talking for about 10 minutes. And just that breathing, that very short breathing exercise, did it make you feel different from the moment you were in and from the time I was talking? Yeah. So that's free. I'm not charging you today. Tomorrow may be different. If I see you out. It's so easy when you're feeling stressed. It's so easy when even when I'm in the kitchen. They know when I go into the freezer, I'm probably breathing. Because I can get away for a minute and not freeze to death and come back out. When I go into the dish pit, they're like, oh no, don't let chef in the dish pit. But that's my zone. Because when I worked in the restaurant many years, I was in the dish pit and I didn't mind. I just had to keep the dishes clean. So, in the chaoticness of it all, sometimes we can find the peace. So in the Blue Zone's purpose, Ikigai, or Plan de Vida in Costa Rica. Plan de Vida, what's the plan of your life? If we start there, we start to just chill. Because usually when you're thinking about it and you can add the breathing to it, you start adding these layers of just calm on our life. And that starts having impact on the brain and impact on the cells, the impact on the nervous system. And you haven't even put anything in your mouth or put anything on your skin. But if you improve circulation, your skin's going to look more alive. If you do exercise, so one of the principles, the 9 power principles of the Blue Zones is movement. They didn't say exercise. There's a big difference psychologically. I did bodybuilding for 10 years, competitive, natural bodybuilding. I was donkey calf raising 800 pounds. There's a big difference from exercise and movement. I also did dance. So just move. Just dance like nobody's watching. I don't care if they are. I don't care if they are, because everybody's watching us today. Walk. I've studied Kemetic yoga, which is yoga from Egypt. That is really old if you want to get into Hatha and all. My aunt was teaching me Hatha yoga at Santa Monica Beach. Again, I swore I'd never do yoga when I got older. I just wanted to play with the kids and grab the sand dabs. Now I've aged myself. Are there still sand dabs? I don't even know. Coming out of the sand. Some of you are looking at me like, what are you talking about? Look up sand dabs. If you've gone to the beach. When's the last time you went to the beach and walked in the sand barefoot? And let the water just cover your feet. Walk in wet grass. People talk about New York. I went to school there. I lived there as the concrete jungle. Everywhere is a concrete jungle. Because we walk around the grass. Oh, don't let me get my feet wet. No, step into the grass. Connect with the earth. We are an electromagnetic being. Above and below matter. We are electromagnet. We have chakras. I'm going to Tulum, Mexico next month to unplug. It's a chakra retreat. So we're going to work with all 7 chakras of the body. Because I know this, so I practice this even when I go months of working 16 hours in the kitchen. I know I have to have balance, yin and yang, or it isn't going to serve me and I'm not going to be able to serve you. My food isn't going to taste as good if I'm not able to put the love into it that I love putting into it, right? So we have purpose, we have movement, we have 95% plant-based, or go over the Richter scale like me over 20 years, 150%. Because some people will eat their vegetables. Some people are, I've got my vegetables down. Oh, I've got my fruits down. Yes, I have my legumes down. Yes, I have my nuts and seeds down. But now let's get into some mushrooms. Because mushrooms aren't my meat. And people are like, well, if you're vegan, why do you need meat? I don't. But I make you more comfortable if I say it tastes like meat. Not for me. I didn't even eat a burger when I ate red meat. I really didn't need it, but I worked at McDonald's. I worked at Burger King's. I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I could get down. I flipped the best fries. Burger King, I made your burger your way, my way. But I made you think it was your way. Because I knew what tastes good. I knew how to lay those pickles down. He wants no pickles, he needs pickles. No. I didn't do it if you didn't ask for pickles. But I did this through high school. So who of us haven't worked in service, right? So I am in this world to serve. And I take that as a high profession. I have an MBA from Pepperdine. So all that intellectual is great, except if you don't know how to connect with people, it's no good. So we have purpose. We have breathing. We have waking up in the morning feeling good about what we're going to do today, even if the day doesn't go our way. Okay, I know I fasted, so I'm not going to have eggs and bacon coming off a fast. Intellectually, anybody knows that, no matter what you eat. But people do it every day. So when I first wake up, I'm going to have some water. Because I'm probably a little bit dehydrated. Depending on the climate, depending on if I slept with air, if I slept with heat. I usually start quite early in the morning, so I don't have breakfast right away when I get up if I'm in the kitchen at 5. I'm really not hungry, but I'm hydrating. And then I'm going to go to my higher content fruits, because that's like having water. And it's easier to break down, so they're very cleansing. So they're going to help to facilitate further the cleansing to keep my body functioning, hydrated, circulation going on. And lymph, we haven't even talked about lymph. The lymphatic system is huge. It carries the toxins away. The blood is carrying the nutrients to the cells. The lymphatic system is like when I was carrying the table, cleaning the tables in the restaurant, because I've done everything in the restaurant. That's how I can say I mastered it. I had to take that waste away. So most of us, when we say, oh, I need to lose weight, we need to lose waste. We have edema. If you're swollen in the morning, if you're cold, if your extremities are cold, your toes and your hands, there's not good circulation. But there's probably toxicity buildup. So we need to improve our lymphatic system. So breathing helps, because it's not like getting on a treadmill and running. You're going to increase circulation. You're going to build muscle. With lymph, you want to help that flow. It doesn't have a pump like the blood does the heart. So lymph stretching is good. Breathing, as we did, is good. Dry brushing. How many of you dry brush? Okay. Dry brushing daily. Dry brushing, because it's just superficially assisting the lymph. And you're brushing towards the heart. So we have coming up to the inguinal nodes, and then we're coming down to the terminal. So a lot of nodes, if you're swollen in the morning, if you've got puffy eyes, look 15 minutes after you've been up. It's probably going to be less puffy. But we're paying all this money to use all these eye creams to remove the puff. It isn't doing it. Collagen in skin creams is not improving the collagen in our face. That's from the internal out. So that's the elastin and the collagen. So sugar is a killer. Sugar is drying up, stiffening the skin and the organs of the body. The skin is just the mirror that we get to see. But if we opened up the body or walk through and we're able to see in our body, we'd see how our organs are aging. We don't think about the organs aging. And if the organs are aging, usually they're aging before the skin starts aging. The skin is just trying to say, hello, help me. But we're taking in Cokes, and we're taking in sugar-laden things. So fruit, yes, natural sugar, because there's fiber. So it's time released through the body. Where did we get off we needed processed sugar? Marketing. But if you give yourself a week to 2 weeks without processed sugar, your taste buds will start changing. And when you go back to that tea with 16 tablespoons like Coke has in it of sugar, it'll be way too sweet for you. But then you'll slowly keep going at it because there's this thing called craving. And then you'll be right back at really tightening your collagen, your DNA fibers that start to then cause the external wrinkling of the skin. So everything is from within. So purpose, so movement, breathing. 95% welcome. Eating a plant-based, okay, go 150 with me. And then the 80%, 80-20 rule. Stop eating, it may be hard here. Stop eating when you're 80% full. Stop eating. This is my challenge to you after you leave here. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair to the vendors. I'm going to be fair to you. But when you leave here and you go home for dinner, or if you stay here with us till 6, you probably won't want to eat after that. Intermittent fasting. Shut it off. Don't drink at 10. You're going to be up 4 times in the night. You want to get rest. We need rest. Whether you need 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, I've never needed 8 hours. But I know how to rest, even when I'm not asleep. Rest. I challenge you to define rest versus sleep. And most of us aren't resting, and most of us are too stressed. So I'm putting you to some challenge. You're like, I won't see you again. Oh, don't be so surprised if you do. I'll find you on Instagram. I'll creep into your DMs when you last thought I could find you. Ask Rob, he knows. My good friend Rob, mycelium, he does foraging tours, and I'm going to go on one with him soon, and Jess, and we are going to be promoting that. He has a table right outside through the auditorium. If you haven't stopped by, please check him out. He didn't pay me for this. It's just what I do when I know you and I like you and I like what you do and I like what you're promoting. I have something there on the table. Don't try to get it from him, because I'm taking it home. My psyllium and my mushrooms. Because mushrooms are so great, not just for us. They're great for our planet. If you've done any work with mushrooms, you know they probably are going to save the world if we don't kill them first. As we love to do to things. So we've got purpose. We've got breathing. We've got 95% plant-based, but go 150 with me. We've got 80% rule. You'll thank me later. Stop. When you go out to dinner with your best friend, just set it on the table, challenge. We're going to stop eating at 80%. When are you 80% full? It's going to take you a little bit to think about it, because we eat way past 100. And you know why we do that? Because we're not getting the nutrients that our brain can recognize to say, I'm full, I'm satiated, we can slow down. So the body keeps looking for, I'm not nourished yet. But when we start turning that thought process on, we start naturally going, oh, I'm cool. But my mother said when I was little, eat all your food because there's hungry kids in the world. Right? I just aged myself again. It's all right. Still hanging in there, girl. So psychologically, I still look at the plate and go, save it for tomorrow. Take it home. Repurpose it. Have leftovers. They're the best. Right? So that 80%, I love sharing that with you, because you'll just think of me, that dang Nina, I'll creep into your dreams. Oh, why did I eat that pint of ice cream? Yes, Nina, I know. Right tribe. They say we're known by the 5 people we hang out with most. Look at who you walked in here with. You got 3 more. You are 2. Are the people who are hanging out with us, supporting us, inspiring us, fueling us, challenging us, willing to say something that we don't like because they're looking out for us? Or are they yes people? Are they like, no, let's have that alcohol challenge? No, I don't want to do that. That's sugar. That's already aging me. It's dehydrating me. And it's going to slow my brain process down. Just look up what alcohol does to us. Just look it up for your own interest. I'm not saying don't ever drink a drink again. Heaven forbid I'm not boring. But be mindful of it. I like Kir Royale. I have one once a year. I like it on New Year's Day. But then I drink like a gallon of water. So I'm not saying not having enjoyment in life. But if you're really concerned about longevity, if you're really concerned about beauty from the inside out, start looking at your world and saying, what can I change? What do I have control of? Because there's so much we don't have control of. But the things we do have control of, let's take control of them, right? Like driving that on the Autobahn 160. I mean, I don't know. If that's what you want to do, be careful. Family first. I didn't start with it, but family first. And who's your family? Because it may not be blood, but family first. Family first, right? And then the other thing is that they found with the blue zones was belonging, a sense of belonging. Whether that was a religious belonging, a faith belonging, a belonging. Think about something you belong to or you feel you belong to, the people you belong to, the practices you belong to. These are the things that they've studied over 20 years that have increased longevity. And I'm talking about in those 5 areas of the blue zones. I talked about Okinawa, Japan, Nicoya Peninsula, Costa Rica, Icaria, Greece, Sardinia, Italy, and Loma Linda, California. We're talking about the highest population of centenarians. The highest population of centenarians. And not centenarians hooked up to, IV and tubes, but out there working and moving and living life to the fullest. And except for Loma Linda, the other thing was wine at 5. Because if you think about those countries, they usually lavish or enjoy a good glass of wine. But not all wine is vegan. Some of you are challenging. You're like, no, you're challenging me now. They're made from grapes. But in the fining process, in the process of making them clear, they're using fish belly. They're using egg whites. They're using animal byproducts. So a good friend of mine, I don't have any affiliation, I don't make any money from her, but I do promote things so you know where to go and have a reference. It's My Vegan Wines, or veganwines.com. Vegan Wines, there's a lot of education about wines. And she has traveled the world. Her name is Frances Gonzalez. And she started this because she was a wine lover. And it was presented to her one time that, well, wine isn't just vegan. And she's like, get out of here. And so now she's created this wine company, educating, but traveling the world, especially before COVID. COVID has changed all of our lives, right? She would go, and still does, go to the farms and really gets into not just are they vegan, but veganic farming, veganic principles. So not using animal fertilizer. We can get into the seaweeds that are available to us to use and many other plant-based things to feed the soil. So there's a lot of research, not as large, just like veganism isn't as large as the rest of the population. But I can tell you over 20 years it's growing. It's growing by leaps and bounds. I would like to say, though, that there is a vegan junk food eaters. So I advocate for whole food plant-based diet, right? I advocate for knowing what's in your food. Since in the past 10 years, because I do a lot of research so I know things before they come out, a lot of this AI and tech food and alternative meats and all, just be mindful what's in it. They will say, oh, the trade-off is healthier, but when you can have something even more healthy and whole, and you can see a black bean burger that really tastes good, that's one of our most popular products on a Friday in our cafe, there's really no excuse to get into a lot of chemicals. And where is that coming from? I advocate for as much, my shoes are vegan. So it's not just a vegan diet or you live in a vegan lifestyle. And there is so much more available, from apple leather to pineapple leather. I have a friend that owns a high luxury shoe company, and she's using pineapple leather. So it's a very, very exciting time to be in. Joanne Vernay is the company. They're luxury price, but there's also many other things coming out. You're seeing a lot of the fashion industry, and I was in fashion early on, and it's probably one of the hardest industries, one on the animals, animal welfare, and on the environment. So you're seeing a lot of the big houses kind of, taking a look at this. Not as fast as I think they should, but those indie fashion designers, I'm really excited. We just had Vegan Fashion Week in LA last week, which was very exciting to see what's happening, but also be mindful of the materials that the vegans are using. Because sometimes they're not always so sustainable for the environment. So, we're like walking this tight rope, right? But finding that happy place. Because to me, beauty is a feeling. It's not a look. I know there's a lot. I've been in the skincare makeup world, worked for Lancome, Estee Lauder, all of the big ones. But beauty, when you strip it down, it's like, is that person a beautiful person? So to me, beauty from the inside out, I hope you know by now and you know a little bit about me, is really that essence we walk in. Because no matter how we look, if our flame is lit, that is a beautiful being. And I think everyone in this room that came to listen to me has that light going on. And we can turn each other's light on more for each other. And we can help each other sometimes when that light is dim, because that's the reality of our world. So at this time, I've gone a half an hour. I just want to open it up to possibly any questions you might have for me. I am Botanical Chef, like Botanical Garden, but Botanical Chef on Instagram. So Instagram, the way of our world, this in real life thing is kind of weird. Like, oh my gosh, I want to see you IRL. Who would have ever thunk? So Botanical Chef on Instagram. I post my recipes. I post my cooking. I don't post my dancing yet, but probably will get there with the stress that's going on. Just so people know I can dance. No, but yes, Botanical Chef. If you have a question, if you have a thought, because I find most often you have a thought once you leave this room. You have that thought when you're at the table and now you're with your partner that came to this lecture going, don't talk about that 80% challenge. I don't want to hear it. I'll breathe with you, but don't talk about her 80% challenge, right? Life is real. Life is real. If we all could stay in an environment, and studies have shown, and what we tried to do at Adventist Health was create a cafe that was all 100% vegan. I went in there like a bulldozer. They didn't know what happened. They thought they were going to get some chicken, and I was like, I got oyster mushroom for you. And I have the protein to go with it. But we sustained for so long and really had an impact. Some people were, I don't want that. It's just lunch. Come on. We were breakfast and lunch, not dinner. But studies have shown if people have the option to grab something healthier, they will. It's got to taste good. None of this cardboard stuff, okay? My dad is like, I don't care about the nutrition value. It just better taste good. So that's all I hear in my head when I'm making something. And through my years of cooking with my mom and my grandmother and my dad, I've been able to make delicious food before I ever went to culinary school. 2 culinary schools. It's like people go, you have to go to school to cook? I'm like, well, I'm cooking for the masses. I just was in Sacramento at the Tower Bridge dinner, one of 5 lead chefs, and I was the only vegan chef, only female chef, for 800 people on a bridge. And I made what I called a prosperity salad, because in my culture, African American, I would have on the first day of the year, January 1st, prosperity meal with my mom, which was collard greens, which could be mac and cheese. I didn't do that on the salad, but it was definitely black-eyed peas. It could be meat, but I didn't do that. I could do the mushrooms. And it was cornbread. So the collard greens represent dollars. The black-eyed peas represent the coins. The cornbread represented the gold. The meat, if you had it, represented wealth. Because, again, if we look at culture still today, very little meat is eaten, and it's eaten for celebratory times because it costs a lot to get that hog or whatever they were going to ingest. And there was a sacrifice made, and they were grateful for it, and they blessed the food, and they thanked, and they used every part of the hog. I'm just using the hog as the example, right? But I can put many other things. So I made a prosperity salad that was made with collard greens, because most people don't think of using collard greens as their green of choice. Rich in minerals, rich in chlorophyll, rich in protein. And then I did the black-eyed peas, but I marinated them. Then I did pickled red onions. I roasted sweet potato. And then I made this orange citrus mustard dressing. So the mustard would be the gold. And then I did a jalapeno cornbread biscotti. If you find a jalapeno cornbread biscotti ever at a restaurant where you ate, I want you to ask them where they got that recipe from. Because I did my homework and I can't find it. And that was all vegan. But it didn't look like this vegan meal. So it was the first course out of this 5-course that was not all vegan, but I came and represented. I will show up for you. If you're like, we need a voice and I don't want to be it, I'll come. Because I advocate on the plate. So my work, my advocation is able to put things on the plate that people are like, oh, that's food, because it is. Collard greens are food. Until some marketer puts a label and you go in the produce area and says it's vegan, like they've been doing. It is food. So let's normalize. We eat food here. Everything you're eating today is food, not pood. Okay? So, with that, I thank you for joining me. Any questions? Any questions? Thank you. Ooh, yes.
You had mentioned the dry brushing.
Yes.
Could you just speak a little bit more about what kind of brush you recommend?
Sure.
Exactly the benefit.
Okay, let's see. Since I just came in and I'm staying at a hotel tonight, too much information. I won't pull out everything that's in this bag, but hopefully... Oh, come on, I know you're in here. I always travel with you. Okay, there's my cap. Where's my dry brush? Yeah, so this kind of dry brush.
Okay.
It could be a back brush. I have the stick, but I use it like this. And then too much information, I've got jeans on. I'm at my tub side or I'm in the shower. And because you want to start at the feet, I'm going to brush and stroke. I don't have jeans on while I'm doing this, right?
Before water in the shower.
This is before water.
Okay.
So it's a very light, and I have a ritual, so I'm doing it like 30 strokes. 33 actually, numerology, another class. 33. Come up, both legs, come up, back, arms, neck, terminus. Everything else I need to bring up to the terminus, inguinal nose, popliteal cavity. Head down, feet all the way up. Yes, and I'm not going to take it out because my next speaker is here. I have a face brush, up and out. Neck down to the terminus, up. It's really out, draining down. Yes, good?
I want to see your face brushes when you get done.
Okay, well, yeah. It's, you know, favorite spice, smoked paprika. Then garam masala. Yeah. And then salt and pepper. But salt, sea salt. Sea salt, yes.
Thank you. You're everything I came here for, all in 30 minutes. Right.
Okay, thank you. We have our next beautiful speaker. So what I'll do is I'll step outside, but I want you to hear her too. I'm around. I'm not going anywhere. So don't be shy. Just grab me. I will stop. If I'm eating, let me swallow, and I will answer your question, okay? Really love this opportunity to speak with you. Thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram. Ask me those questions, but I'm around. So I'm going to step just outside so you can ask me some questions.